Hey everyone, welcome to Code Manual. In today's tutorial, we're going to learn how to create a registration app using SAPUI5. Now don't worry if you're new to this, we will take it step by step. And by the end of this tutorial, you will have your very own registration app up and running. And this is how our app will look. So this is how our app is going to look once we're done. So let's get started. All right, let's start by breaking down this XML code. Now this is what we call an XML view, and it's basically a structure of our app's user interface. Think of it like a blueprint that tells our app how to look and behave. So here we have our MCV view tag. It's like the container for everything else in our app. This is controller name attribute. This tells our app which JavaScript file to look at for handling the app's behavior. So here's what is happening in this code. The controller name attribute points to the controller file managing the view's logic, while XMLNS MVC establishes a namespace for SAP's MVC architecture. And display block ensures full space occupation, while XMLNS form defines the namespaces for our UI components. This XML view acts as a blueprint for our app's user interface, specifying what elements to use and how to arrange them. So let's move on ahead. And next we have the page tag. So this is like the main page of our app. We have given it an ID of page and set its title dynamically using I18N, which means it will pull the title from all file. Here it is. Basically, the page is like our canvas where we will place all our UI elements. It has an ID for easy reference and uses data binding for the title, making it dynamic. Now, inside our page, we have flexbox elements. Here we go. So, this is our flexbox element. Flexbox helps us center content horizontally and vertically, ensuring it fills up all the available space. We also apply custom styling using a CSS class, and within the flexbox, we have a panel tag. Think of the panel as a container for grouping related content together. Also, the panel element groups form elements, organizing and styling them with attributes like ID for identification, background designing, background design for transparency, and width for automatic adjustment. So inside the panel, we have our form element. The form element is where our registration form lives. We have set it up with a responsive grid layout. We have set it up with a responsive grid layout so to make sure it looks good on different screen sizes. The form's ID uniquely identifies it, while the layout attributes ensures it adapts to different screens. The title label sits as a registration form. The editable allows user input, and finally, the class adds custom padding for styling. This part of the XML view creates the structure for a registration form, making it easy for the users to input the information. So next, we move on to the form content. So this is the form content right here. The form content tag indicates where our form fields will go, which we will cover in the next part. Overall, this code sets up the structure and the layout of a registration form within a panel for neat and organized display. So inside the form content we have our form fields. So this is the name field, email address, country, phone, and password. These are typically field these are the typical fields users fill out when registering. So the form content tag indicates where our form fields will go, which we will cover in the next part. Overall, this code sets up the structure and layout of a registration form within a panel for neat and organized display. So inside the form content tag, we have our form fields. So here are the form fields: name, email address, country, phone, and password. These are the typical fields users fill out when registering. Each field has a corresponding label indicating what information to enter, and all the input element provides spaces for our users to enter the data. So now that we are done with the input fields, we move on to the core title and checkbox tags. So here we have our core title tag. Towards the end, we have a section for the privacy policy. We have added a title for it and a checkbox for users to agree to the terms and conditions. So let's look at the core title. The core title element showcases the title for privacy and policy with customized styling, identified uniquely by its ID and rendered as a heading for level H5. While the text attribute sets the content, the title style dictates its appearance. Now for the checkbox tag. The checkbox element with an assigned unique identifier through the ID attribute represents user with an option to agree to the terms and conditions, displaying the text I agree to the terms and conditions. So this is what will show up in the text in the checkbox tag. Now moving on to the button ID, to the button tag. So we have create button. When clicked, it will trigger an action defined in our JavaScript file, which is right here. This is what will trigger an action in the JavaScript file. So the press is like a method. The button element displays the text create account with a style set to make it stand out. So when the users click this button, it triggers the on registration page function in the controller.app.js, allowing us to handle account creation logic. This button is the final step in the registration process, making it essential for our app's functionality. So now that we are done with all the coding, this is how our app is going to look like once we are finished. Here we have our input fields, here we have our checkbox, and here we have our button. Thanks for joining me in this tutorial. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with others who might find it helpful.